Hello, and welcome back to the Deep Dive series. There is one trope in fiction that transcends genre, consistently dominating bestseller lists, generating millions of fanfics, and keeping readers up all night. It's the enemies to lovers dynamic. The formula is simple. Take two people who are sworn adversaries, put them in a confined space, and wait for the inevitable, explosive romance. It's intoxicating. It's high stakes. It's the core appeal of massive Romantasy hits like Fourth Wing, where the forced proximity between Xaden Riorson and Violet Sorrengail gave us one of the most obsessive fandoms in recent history. But today, we're not here to celebrate destiny. We're here to ask an uncomfortable, analytical question. Is the relationship truly driven by fate and genuine love? Or is it a psychological phenomenon, a mere side effect of extreme stress? We argue that the most addictive relationships in fiction are not pure romance. They are the perfectly engineered outcome of what we call stress-induced intimacy. The tension, the angst, the fear of mutual annihilation, these aren't obstacles to overcome. They are the catalysts that make the love feel so unbelievably powerful. We are drawn to it because it taps into our deepest human needs, survival, validation, and a profound desire for connection in the face of absolute danger. To understand this, we need to stop thinking like romance readers and start thinking like psychologists. Which Romantasy couple do you think has the most toxic but addictive dynamic? Is it Xaden and Violet or someone else? Let me know right now in the comments. To break down the anatomy of enemies to lovers, we must begin with a foundational concept from social psychology, the misattribution of arousal. In 1974, psychologists Donald Dutton and Arthur Aaron conducted the now famous Capilano Bridge experiment. They had an attractive female interviewer approach men on two different bridges. One was a stable, low wooden bridge. The other, the 450-foot-long, swaying, terrifying Capilano suspension bridge in British Columbia. The result was staggering. Men interviewed on the terrifying, high-arousal suspension bridge were significantly more likely to call the interviewer back later, often mistaking the fear-induced adrenaline, the rapid heart rate, the shortness of breath, the shaky knees, for sexual attraction. This is the psychological cheat code at the heart of enemies to lovers. In a safe domestic setting, a cold stare and a threat of violence would rightly be interpreted as danger. But in the life-or-death pressure cooker of the Basgiath War College, that constant adrenaline, the perpetual fight-or-flight state, the literal fear of death, is recategorized by the brain as intense emotional arousal. Every heated argument is a shared adrenaline rush. Every confrontation, every near-death experience, every time Xaden and Violet spar or face off over political differences, their central nervous systems are overloaded. This high emotional state acts as a powerful, non-sexual form of foreplay. Think about the first time Xaden verbally threatens Violet. She feels a surge of fear and anger. Her body is physically reacting to a major threat. When the threat slightly lessens, say he offers a cryptic piece of advice or saves her from a training mishap, the intense physical reaction remains, and the brain mislabels the residual arousal as chemistry. The tension in their relationship isn't about disliking each other. It's about survival in proximity. The relationship progresses not in spite of the conflict, but because of the conflict. The danger they pose to each other, combined with the external danger of the quadrant, creates the ultimate suspension bridge. Their relationship is essentially a fear-induced high. Can you think of a scene in Fourth Wing where the characters nearly died and then immediately had a moment of connection? Which one was the most intense? Share your moments below. Moving beyond basic arousal, the best enemies to lovers stories master the uncertainty principle of attraction, fueled by a concept called intermittent reinforcement. In simple terms, certainty is boring. Predictable kindness does not generate obsession, it generates comfort. But an enemy-turned-protector offers the most potent form of addiction, emotional uncertainty. Xaden Riorson is the master of this. One moment, he is the cold, politically driven executioner, reminding Violet he would happily watch her burn. The next, he is secretly training her, protecting her, and ensuring her survival against the institutional forces that want her dead. This is the literary equivalent of a slot machine. Sometimes you get a reward, protection, a moment of intimacy, a shared look. Most of the time, you get nothing. Coldness, distance, veiled threats. The intermittent reinforcement, the unpredictable reward cycle, is scientifically proven to be the most addictive behavioral pattern. Violet is constantly left guessing. Does he hate me or does he care about me? This ambiguity keeps Xaden at the absolute forefront of her mind, creating an intense, almost frantic mental and emotional investment. She is not just falling for him, she is trying to solve the puzzle of him. When he is kind, it feels like an immense earned victory. When he is cruel, she rationalizes it as justified political caution, which somehow makes the eventual affection feel more real and hard-won. The high value of the relationship is tied directly to its risk factor. He's the son of a traitor, she's the daughter of the general who executed his father. This forbidden nature isn't just dramatic flair. It tells the brain this is rare, dangerous, and therefore incredibly valuable. This isn't love blooming organically. It's love being chemically manufactured by an emotional roller coaster of uncertainty and high risk. The relationship feels so potent precisely because it comes with the highest possible stakes. If Xaden had been kind and predictable from day one, would their relationship have been boring? Or is the initial hostility the only thing that made it interesting? Drop your thoughts below. Well, the previous pillars explain the chemistry. They don't explain the attachment. For that, we turn to the deepest core of their relationship, trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is defined as an unhealthy attachment that forms in a relationship where the dynamic involves a cycle of abuse, intermittent kindness, and shared adversity. While Xaden is not an abuser in the traditional sense, the political system that brought them together is. Both Xaden and Violet are victims of the same brutal regime. Their shared isolation and systemic pressure are the very first thing that binds them. When the entire world is trying to kill you, the person who understands the terror of that system immediately becomes your refuge. This bypasses the need for trust, replacing it with immediate shared context. Their rescuer-victim dynamic is built on necessity. Violet physically needs Xaden's protection and influence to survive the impossible trials of Basgioth. Xaden, burdened by his father's legacy and his oath to the Mark children, needs Violet to survive to fulfill his own internal code of ethics and, twistedly, to achieve a sense of control over a life where he has none. This intense mutual dependency, where one is the necessary shield and the other is the necessary purpose, is easily and compellingly mistaken for pure passionate love. Psychologically, we form intense emotional loyalty to those who save us from mortal danger. The lines between gratitude, reliance, and love are deliberately blurred by the narrative. The trauma bonding thesis states that their bond didn't begin as a choice, but as a survival pact. They didn't fall in love because they were destined to. They fell in love because they were forced to rely on each other to navigate an environment designed to kill them both. Their love, therefore, is an incredible testament to the human need for connection, but its origins are rooted in deep-seated systemic trauma, not fairy tale fate. Now let's address the element that separates Fourth Wing from nearly every other enemies to lovers story, the dragon bond. Their forced bond, courtesy of Tarn and Scale, is the ultimate emotional cheat code in fiction. It removes the most terrifying and rewarding part of any relationship, the act of choice and vulnerability. True love is the terrifying decision to open your heart, expose your flaws, and risk rejection from someone who has the power to hurt you deeply. It requires slow, meticulous building of trust. The dragon bond effectively guarantees sincerity. They cannot truly lie to each other about their deepest feelings and intentions, especially not the emotions that filter through the dragons. This mechanism dramatically accelerates the plot, allowing the author to skip months or years of communication barriers. The benefit? We get to see immediate, unfiltered passion and honesty. The cost? Psychologically? The love loses the essential human element of earned trust. What is the true value of intimacy when the foundation of sincerity is supernaturally enforced? The narrative has essentially provided a safety net beneath a high-wire act. We love it because it's a fantasy of guaranteed sincerity, a powerful antidote to the deception and uncertainty of the real world. But from an analytical standpoint, it means their early relationship was built on a magical compulsion, not purely on free will. The enduring question remains: if the dragon bond hadn't literally forced them into each other's heads, would Xaden's ingrained distrust and Violet's fear of his family's legacy have been too great to overcome? So, what is the final verdict on the Xaden and Violet dynamic? Is it love or trauma? It is both. Trauma bonding was the catalyst, but genuine love became the eventual outcome. The early stages were a perfect psychological storm: stress-induced intimacy, misattribution of arousal, fueled by emotional addiction, intermittent reinforcement, and rooted in shared trauma. However, the power of the story and the reason it resonates so deeply lies in the fact that they eventually choose each other outside the political mandate and the initial survival pact. They begin to make sacrifices for the other's well-being that go far beyond what their political roles or dragon bonds demand. They grow into the love the magic created. But before we conclude, we must address the most intoxicating psychological component, the redemption arc illusion. The audience is often addicted to the idea of the small, broken, kind protagonist, Violet, taming the dangerous beast, Xaden. We want to believe that our love, our vulnerability, and our goodness can conquer the dark, complicated, or dangerous nature of another person. We see Violet's love as the redemptive force that frees Xaden from his burdens and his hatred. This is the ultimate romantic fantasy, the belief that love is powerful enough to heal deep-seated psychological wounds and political scars. It's why the enemies to lovers trope works. It promises us that even the most broken, adversarial relationships can be mended, redeemed, and transformed by the raw power of emotional connection. We are not just rooting for the couple, we are rooting for the healing of the broken system through their love. The relationship of Xaden and Violet is a masterclass in how to engineer psychological addiction through storytelling. And that, more than any destined fate, is the real secret behind the fourth wing phenomenon. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dive literary analysis. And tell me, do you think Xaden and Violet's love would survive in a world without dragons and war? Would they even look at each other? Let's discuss in the comments.